Hello everyone, it is me, MrSneakyy, and welcome to my video comparing Call of Dragons to Rise of Kingdoms, the old game by Lilith Games, and this is the newer game by Farlight Studios, just a side team of the Lilith Studios or Lilith Games. But if you want to see everything between them, compare them, the good and the bad, stay tuned for the full comparison video right here. Hello everyone, so yes, it is me, MrSneakyy, and we're going to be going over the key differences between Call of Dragons and Rise of Kingdoms, because they are two different games, and to be honest, they do serve a purpose for two different audiences, right? They don't fit the bill for everyone, so obviously I'm going to give you guys the full difference, obviously, here with me. So stay tuned for the full breakdown on the combat, even the graphics, and just some of the systems in the game compared to each other, right? So if you enjoy my content, here is MrSneakyy. Smash a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I am an official Call of Dragons content creator for Call of Dragons and Lilith Games. Currently still only an apprentice, but learning is the way to go, as we always say, right? So here we are with my Call of Dragons gameplay, as you can see right now, and when you're looking at the graphics on Call of Dragons, as you can see, it is an absolutely beautiful game. Like, even when you zoom out and you look at the map, the world map itself has textures. You can see mountains and how it is formed. You can even see all the rivers, and even they've got these really cool architects like structures, which are just wonders, like any natural wonders in any world would have. And by just going to these, you can, as a player, actually do some quest lines and get some free T4 units for doing it, right? So it's a really cool little feature to have. But now, if we just jump over to the Rise of Kingdoms side of it, you can see this is the current map, right? So if we zoom out again, this is what the map looks like on Rise of Kingdoms, and it's very bland and plain. As you can see, this is still maxed out settings on the PC, as we were using both PC clients, to be fair, with the same settings. But when you go in, even like when you look at the river and the trees and just how everything's just color painted, it's not really much different. Even the units, so these are the patrols or the Barbarians in Rise of Kingdoms, right? So if you're a Rise of Kingdoms player, you guys know you kill these and you get some rewards like your arrows and your gems and speed and so on. And by killing these, this is how you level up your commanders in Rise of Kingdoms. And obviously in this game, all your commanders are based on different heroes from history. As you can see, this is my very old account when I used to play the game. I'm still relatively powerful, as you can see, nothing to brag about though. But this is the game, as you can see in the graphics, so there's nothing too much flaunty to show, right? And if we just quickly do a quick flick, I can just show you again. Look at the difference in the map, and as soon as we zoom in to my area, you can start seeing some of this beautiful water. You can see how these have got beautiful shadows. It's a 3D sculpture model, should I say. You've got all your different patrol barbarians still here, and they've got their own little characteristics, like, and you can see that this is a heavy infantry one. You can see this is more archer based with cavalry as its like movement. So it's really cool. And the thing is, between both systems is, as you said with Rise of Kingdoms, is you can kill these guys in Rise of Kingdoms to gain XP, and that's what you do in Call of Dragons. You still kill these to gain your XP, but for free-to-play players, as you can see here, every time you kill one of these for the first time, you always gain a gold key and some goodies for yourself, right? And if we go down and we just look at someone else a little bit lower level, like here, you can see you get your XP and you get all your other goodies like you would do to level up your commanders. But in this game, they're not called commanders, they are called heroes, because it is instead a fantasy based MMO, RPG, city builder, you know, RTS, whatever you want to call it. It is that type of game, but it is under a fantasy theme. So we do have wizards, we have mages in there, we have witches, we've got people with bows, we've got angels, we've got people that look like Groot from the Avengers, right? And, or should I say not the Avengers, but you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy. So we've got the Groots, we've got the horse cavalry cool people, we've got elves, you name it, this game has it. It's all fantasy based instead. The key difference in this game compared to the other game is the actual hero XP system, and that's why I wanted to go over that really in depthly now and give you guys a good indicator on how the game systems work. One of the key differences between Call of Dragons and Rise of Kingdoms with the hero XP system is actually how the fundamental game works, right? So in Rise of Kingdoms, you guys have KVKs, where obviously you go into a big massive event with your kingdom and you fight against other enemy kingdoms, right? And there's like your there's a strive event, I know there's a few others, you know, you guys know the names better than me now. It's been a long time since I've played. But in this game, instead of those types of KVKs at the moment, what we do have is season reset, and season reset happens after every season, the same as a KVK. This lasts around 70 days, a little bit more, give or take, depending on, you know, your kingdom mail and so forth from the developers. They'll give you a good notice when you are going to reset. But every time you go into a season reset, you lose your hero XP and you lose your artifact levels, which we'll go over later. You also lose some policies, prestige, and you lose a lot of progress, as you can see. And this is progress you've obviously earned. The things you don't lose is your natural build, right? So any natural tech, like your T4, your T5 research that you've done, all your buildings up to like you see Hall 24, you keep all of this, right? The only thing that you're worried about are things that you gain during the season. So you gain policies during the season, you gain XP during the season, and artifacts XP, right? So the way the hero system works now in this game, now you understand how the seasons reset. The way it works is you can get any hero in the game. So all mine, you can see, are 4-star still. But when you look at someone like Bakar, when you first get him, he'll be at 1-star. And this will have only one of his skills unlocked. But every time you upgrade his star level by upgrading his overall level, you will gain a new skill talent. So when you're level 10, you'll unlock a new star chance, and then you can upgrade his star level 20, level 30, and then level 40, as these show here, right? So level 10, 20, and 30, you unlock, get the deputy slot, so you can have a secondary at level 20, and at level 30, you unlock your 4th skill, and then at level 40, it doesn't state, but at level 40, which it says here, is when you unlock your expertise skill. So the way it works is every time you're unlocking those gold keys and you're getting those great upgrades for your skills, you still upgrade all of your hero skills like you would do in Rise of Kingdoms, but you just have to reset your XP every season, and you just have to fight some patrols again. I know some people might find this really hard, and it's a bit of a shock and horror, but when you come into it and you understand why, it makes things a lot more fun. So the way this game does operate is a very active based game. So the more active you are, the more the game rewards you. So obviously if you're a whale and you're a spender, you know, you can spend away and you can have a really good first season. But when the second season comes and it resets, if that whale doesn't spend the same amount of time, or if he doesn't spend enough time, he won't be leveling up these heroes enough compared to those free-to-play players. And you guys that are free-to-play players who are always going to be playing the game and putting that amount of hours in and putting your dedication and time, you will get rewarded for it. And that is the really great deal for Call of Dragons. So let's go back over to Rise of Kingdoms and talk about some of the combat system and differences again between the two games. So now, when we go over combat, the one thing everyone knows with the Call of Dragons and Rise of Kingdoms is they both operate on the same game engine, which is beautiful. That instead of any of these Game of Thrones or Infinity Kingdoms, any normal city builder games that aren't Lilith based, they work on a way where you have to click and hit attack, and then as you can see, you attack from your city and then it comes back, right? But in this game, and same with Call of Dragons, it works in a very fast pace. You can drag and click, as you can see, multiple marches. There's no limit where you can go, you can just move. But when it comes to combat, combat is always the same. And the way combat works is when you hit a target or go to attack a target, you always surround them. So you always surround them and you go face to face value, right? This is even true if I go and summon a archer unit, right? So if I summon someone like, for just argument's sake, let's go and grab YSG, the old school big boy, and just to put someone with him as Mehmed. There we go. We've got some T5 run-ins there. And archers, you would assume when you would go and attack here would have some sort of range, right, and attack them. But in Rise of Kingdoms, everything, like I said, works at face value. So everything, as you're going to see now, is going to attack and touch each other and hug each other, right? But the reason the Rise of Kingdom system works so effective is there's a rock, paper, scissors, right? So cavalry beats infantry, cavalry beats archers, archers beat infantry, and infantry beats cavalry, right? It's like the holy trinity of the game. Everyone knows this who plays this for so many years. It's how you can get the good trades in open field combat, right? So let's switch back over to Call of Dragons, right? And with Call of Dragons here, we've got a melee march. And obviously melee works the exact same as you guys would do if I attack this guy. As you can see, he's going to touch just the exact same as Rise of Kingdoms. Touch face value. Obviously there's a bit more mechanics you can see on screen. We'll go over that later. But it's face to face value, right? But if we summon, for example, our archer unit, and this works as well for mage units and other different types of units in the game. If we summon our mage or our archers, let's go and win with a Husk for just a video purpose. And this is our archer unit now, and we go and target the same unit. You'll see now it's going to walk in, and now it's got this range. And this gives a massive edge when it comes to the differences in combat when it comes to the two games. Because you've added range as a normal mechanic now in the open field with Call of Dragons, the open field scenarios that you would have loved in Rise of Kingdoms, and don't get me wrong, Rise of Kingdoms is such a great game and a great foundation, I think, and a great pioneer to the genre, right? It stood out, it brought something new, and it is honestly the best, in my opinion, at the time when it came out of the city builders. But when you come to Rise of Kingdoms and then go to Call of Dragons is the next step, right? It's the next evolutionary step for combat. And I'm going to switch over now just to some open field footage from what I've captured from playing this game, just so you can see the amount of open field combat and the difference of showcasing this range, right? And after that, we're going to go over some extra mechanics that you might not have known, which is the equipment differences, that is artifacts. So here's some open field footage from Call of Dragons now. So you're going to see it on screen, some cavalry in the middle with an infantry push right in the center of the screen. This is what's being obviously hit and run and fighting, as you can see, from the old school Rise of Kingdom style. But on the edges, you can see the mage units here and some mage units on the south side. So you've got some mage here and some mage here, and they're using that range combat to hit them. And also, what you just witnessed there, that massive meteorite and fireball, and that green meteorite and fireball that came down, is a mechanic which is part of your artifact. Instead of your equipment, you gain, like I said, artifacts in this game. And it's almost like when you want to choose timed, you know, spell. It's very impactful. It's meant to be game changing, and it is on a long cooldown. So we're going to go over the artifacts now compared to equipment. So obviously we're going to show you what you know about the equipment and Rise of Kingdoms, and then we'll move back to Call of Dragons to give you a much simpler system that you guys will be able to follow. Now we're on to the equipment and artifact difference, right? So if you're a Rise of Kingdoms player, you guys all know there's a lot of buffs you can get in the game. Obviously there's your talents and your skills, very similar to Rise of Kingdoms, but you guys also have your equipment, right? So if we look at some other guys here, we've got some different equipment on, and we've got some more equipment, you know, we've got equipment everywhere, right? So all this equipment we use is to give us bunches of stats and set bonuses with extra stats, again to empower that march as much as possible, right? We also can get some accessories, and the accessories give you some cool little mini effects that you could get in the game. People like the horn as well, you know, the big horn generating rage, really cool effect in what you can use. But also in this game, compared to the others, we also have like formations, right? So you can speak about formations, and that's another mechanic that people can go into, and this is like adding more and more buffs and different types of, you know, buffs to your unit, and it gets more buffs and buffs. That's the basic way of the equipment system in Rise of Kingdoms, right? But now if we go over to the Call of Dragons game, we're going to see something completely different. So when we go to the artifacts here, the artifacts, you only can equip one, and you only can ever use one. So each hero can only have one equipped at any given time, and only be able to use it when they've got it equipped. And the cool thing with artifacts is they're really big, powerful abilities that are impactful on the open field, as well as there's some PvE ones, there's some PvP ones, there's even gathering artifacts, there's rally artifacts, there's garrison artifacts, there's artifacts for every point of the game, and they're all really cool and they do their own thing. So a good example of that is for the Viola's Bow. So the Viola's Bow is an archer artifacts that you can trigger, and all these artifacts that you can use are skill shot based. So if you're on the PC, what you have to do is obviously zoom out, and if we just summon some of these guys out just to showcase it for you, and we go and attack this march with our range units again. Our artifact is shown on the screen there. It's got a hotkey on. You can change this hotkey to whatever you like. But you can see this gets charged up when you're in combat. And when you do get access to it, you can now aim and hit any unit you want. And it highlights who you're going to hit. And when you do click it, as you can see, it now flings. It has a cool animation, and it has a little speech bubble. And the speech bubble is really fun because the speech bubble is the name of the ability. So every time you cast it, you'll say Shadow Games, so people know you've used your Shadow Blades artifact, right? The same thing with heroes. These artifacts reset in their levels. That's why you have a load of ones when you don't need them, because every season is different. You know, one season you might be playing infantry, next season, you know what, you might fancy playing cavalry, so you're going to go for the cavalry artifacts and level them up and use them. Same with the archers or mages and so forth. So it gives you a load of flexibility on what you want to use each season, so you're never tied down to one unit type, right? And the cool thing is, again, with the artifacts, again, the same thing happens. So these guys reset. So again, I'm using a load of archer ones this season with only one mage and a tank, and I've got cav just to cover all the bounds. But next season I'll be changing it up, and I'll be running two hopefully good mage ones together, and then a archer one, and then a tank one. And you know, you can able to switch it up and choose and fly and go on the fly, and that's what I really do love about this. And like I say, everything has their own little gimmick. You have ones which you can put on enemies and it has a little delay bomb. You can have this axe which you use for PvE content, as you can see here, for darklings, dark creatures and behemoths. You can deal damage to them and even sometimes knock them up to CC them, or, you know, like stun them in other games terms. Like I said, the gathering one, you can trigger to gather a resource tile really quickly and gain a fast amount of resources in. So that's another really cool way of, you know, the differences between Call of Dragons and Rise of Kingdoms, because like I say, Rise of Kingdoms has equipment and this game has artifacts, right? And another thing we're going to go over to finish it all off, and the final part, is the way the game is currently compared to the way Rise of Kingdoms is, right? So we need to talk about the two life cycles of the games. So let's go over and stay together. And if you've enjoyed the video so far, smash a like, comment and subscribe to it. Obviously, I'm here to try and give you guys the best content as I can about Call of Dragons, and here is a nice, you know, introductory to all those players that are from Rise of Kingdoms that are maybe looking into it, right? So with this game, there's a lot of options for free-to-play players to gain rewards. Like I said, you can gain rewards even for your artifact keys. These are keys to gain all the artifacts. You've even got things like, and I even gone over the best part, which is at the end. We've got even things like chests you can find. So when you're killing these patrols, you get rewarded with some special keys, right? And you've got your daily missions like always. But you get these daily keys, and these keys, what you can do is then find an area where it's guarded and there's a special chest. And that chest can give you legendary artifacts and even epic artifacts and XP to level those artifacts up, right? So it's a really fun event that you can do, and every time you do one of these, this is an alliance chest, so all of your alliance members in the game can all get that, you know, goodie, right? So it's really good, nice little friendly environment. Like I say, anytime you fight an enemy, any creatures you fight, you'll get a reward for doing it. Any type of scouting you do, you're going to get a reward for doing it as well. Every time you kill a behemoth that has a different buff from each other, which I will discuss in a moment, has rewards attached to it. And also even the events in the game, obviously you're going to have rewards attached to them. You've got rewards similar to the ones in Rise of Kingdoms. So this is something I've not seen really in Rise of Kingdoms. It's a bit similar thing to trying to kill as many patrols and barbarians as you can, but it's a little bit different and it's a bit more fun than I've expected it to be. You've got the behemoth one, which tracks all the behemoths that die. You've got your similar like spin the wheel, but these are for artifacts. You've got some normal things to do with increasing power, and like this is your Loha event, but she's really good compared to Loha, so really recommend this compared to any Rise of Kingdom player still using the Loha. You've got, again, standard stuff, and then your strongest lord, which is what is your mightiest governor event in Call of Dragons. Like I say, you can see a lot of similarities that they do have. So when you're playing this, when you're from Rise of Kingdoms, you're gonna feel, to be honest, a lot at home, because there's a lot of things that you do feel are similar because they are made by the same game company, right? But it does have its own niches and differences. And let's get to the final one, which is the raids and behemoths that Rise of Kingdoms just doesn't have. So let's go into some behemoth stuff. So here we have a raid. So this is one of the raids in the game. It is a dire bear, and it's quite later on in the season. So when you do zoom out, the way the game works, similar to the one in Rise of Kingdoms, is you have your monument, and as the kingdom grows older, obviously the monument stages unlock and you get some goodies for doing bits, right? The Augur Stone is the exact same thing in the game for Call of Dragons, but instead it shows you the unlock progress for all the dire bears. It also gives you all the information to do with the season and the season rewards and the season overview, as well as the cool feature that you get to see all the season current behemoths. So any behemoth that's currently, you know, controlled by an alliance, you get to see who controls it, which is really cool. And then you can see right here, BDL owns this guy, and you can see all of them, right, throughout the season. One at the end is the Flame Dragon, and this is what you guys are aiming to go for. So when you are playing this game, you're wondering, what's the whole point of this, right? The whole point is to get into Zone 3 to control the Flame Dragon, right? So when we go, and we can't see him right now because he is fogged out, but the Flame Dragon is this amazing beast that you will be able to fight, control, and tame. And the thing with behemoths are, they're not just there to look pretty, guys. They're not just there to look pretty. You can, in your alliance here, summon these guys, and these guys get summoned on the battlefield, and they're, instead of like kingdom buffs and these weird big kingdom swings, your alliance has control of these big creatures that you fought and tamed. And the cool thing is, and this is the one which I know you guys in Rise of Kingdoms will love, is in the elite raid system, this is how you power them up. So you kill the giant bear normally, and now you have to go through the harder difficulty of the raid. And the cool thing is with it is there is a special reward attached to each of these guys, and as you can see, it's a raid frame. And the cool thing with this raid frame is, to get it, you need to be the first alliance on the server to complete it within the time limit of 6 minutes 30. And obviously it is the elite raid. We did it the first time, as you can see, 3 minutes and 50. So we was able to get it. I've so far in the game, just to show them off, because I know you guys are going to be interested in looking at these. These are the avatar frames so far. So you got your giant bear, giant. This is the Thunder Rock. You got a Hydra, a Dire Bear, a Necro Giant, a Magma, and the Flame Dragon, right? So we're only missing one out of all of the collection so far. But you get these for being the first again on the server to get the kill on the elite raid and upgrade your behemoth to make it stronger, right? So it's a really cool way of flexing to the entire server that you guys were the first to achieve it. And the cool thing is, again, this is only achieved and given to those members that participated. So if you might have been in the alliance, you won't have got the frame, but you might have got the reward for completing the elite raid. But to get those frames, you need to be participating. So that is pretty much everything in the game compared to Rise of Kingdoms. As you can tell, there is quite a lot. It is a game that does require a lot of activity, and it does require you to play it. But the beautiful thing is, I like a game like that, because free-to-play players spend so much time and effort in a game like Rise of Kingdoms, and they don't get enough rewards, and they don't feel like they're getting enough achievements or rewards for doing so. And this game is basically Rise of Kingdoms, but right at the beginning. So imagine you guys playing all those Rise of Kingdoms accounts, and you could have been playing it back when it was Rise of Civilizations, and you would have been so much stronger now, because you know how much you could have been saving up. And Call of Dragons is in that same state. So it has a load of events in. Rise of Kingdoms does have a lot more, and I will admit it, it has a lot more events to play. But that is one thing that the game will get over time. Obviously the hero pool is amazing in this, and every hero in Call of Dragons feels like it actually has a purpose, and there's a reason why you need to be running them over the others in different scenarios. And that's what makes this game beautiful, right? So if you're a guy that likes PvP, you can play matches like mages and feel that, you know, PvP combat experience that you crave. But if you really like playing stuff like WoW or other games that have, like, you know, boss fights in, and you're fighting big raid bosses in, stuff like archers are really good for playing that role and killing and dealing with those behemoths. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and the comparison between it. I hope I see you guys in the launch, which is going to be tomorrow on the 28th of March. This is a bit of a pre-recording for it, but we need to get you guys ready and understanding what the differences are between the games. And honestly, if you give it a very fair shot and play a full season, get the season reset, and then play through at least a few weeks of the second season, you'll understand why people love this game and why it's really fun to actually play as an alliance, because it becomes a very social experience. You meet great new friends, you make really great memorable moments, and honestly, it is a very fun time to have. So if you've enjoyed the video, guys, between the Rise of Kingdoms and Call of Dragons comparison, smash a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It is me, MrSneakyy, an official Call of Dragons content creator. But for now, that is it. Peace out, stay safe, and stay sneaky.